Hey everyone, it's Michael. I hope you're doing well today. Back in 2025, I went through a whole sitcom hit, and one of my favorite sitcoms ever. My wife and I decided to watch it from beginning to end. I owned all the DVDs. We had some issues with that. I'll try to get to that later on in the review. But we decided, probably in about sometime in the fall, maybe right before October, we started watching through Everybody Loves Raymond. She grew up a huge fan of this show, and I loved it, but I only saw episodes here and there. I probably saw a grand total of maybe 15 episodes of my entire life, but I really loved it. And I've always wanted to see it all the way through. So I bought up the seasons over time, and we decided to pick it up and watch it. And I guess I'll start with the general concept of this show, but before I get to that, I have a lot of sitcoms I watched through last year. Like, I just finished up How I Met Your Mother. I reviewed that for you guys too. But I also watched all the way through Married with Children for the first time ever. And I have a lot of thoughts about that show. If you would like a review for that, please let me know down below, because if not, I won't do it. But I may still do it just because I have a lot to say about it. I was going to review it, I never got around to it. So anyway, Everybody Loves Raymond stars Ray Romano, who I've always enjoyed as a comedian. He's not a great actor, but that was kind of what this show played up on. And he has a house of, three kids and his wife, Deborah, played by Patricia Heaton, who starts off dressing like the most bland, sloppy-looking woman ever. And I think at first they were going for, she's a stay-at-home mom, so she's just going to wear, like, stay-at-home clothes, like sweats and stuff. But no joke, they realized, like, by season 3 or 4, how beautiful Patricia Heaton is, and they started dressing her up, and she's gorgeous in this show. I love this woman. As the show goes on, Deborah, the wife, ends up becoming one of my favorite characters on it. But it's one of those shows where I pretty much like almost every character. And I think even the bad characters, in the sense, like, bad in the sense you're supposed to hate them, are well written. I don't think the show ever slides on that, to be honest with you. But anyway, they have 3 kids, and they live across the street from Ray's parents, Frank and Marie. Frank is an angry, arrogant, prideful man who looks, I swear he has to be the influence on Jeff Dunham to make the Walter ventriloquist dummy. He looks just like Peter Boyle. I love Frank. Frank can be too over the top, just like his wife Marie. But dude, I love Frank. He is so funny, dude. He's not afraid to hurt people's feelings. He's an ex-veteran. He's just so great, dude. Peter Boyle lived for this role, and he died like a year after the show ended, which makes it even more tragic. Marie is played by the grandma from Grandma's Boy, and she's also in Christmas Vacation, which I didn't realize it was her. I love the woman who plays these roles. Who plays Marie here. The problem is Marie is so unforgivably awful. Frank, her husband, is such an arrogant, crazy nutcase, almost like the Al Bundy of his neighborhood, from Married with Children. But Marie is, like, nice to everybody, but immediately talking about them as soon as they turn around. Like, she's a very two-faced, mean-spirited, judgmental person. She has 2 sons, which Ray, our main character, Ray Romano, is. And her other son lives with them at the current beginning of the show. He just got out of a divorce. He's a cop. His name is Robert. I love Robert. Robert might be my favorite character in the show, either he or Deborah. When the show goes on, it's kind of leaning more towards Deborah. But Robert is hilarious. I think Robert has the best jokes, one-liners, scenes, episodes, like the episode where he joined the cult. Oh my lord, if you haven't seen that, dude, my wife and I quote that episode so much. Robert is such a great character, and he's always jealous of his brother, his little brother, Ray, because Ray always got all the attention the entire time they grew up. And I know it sounds childish and dumb that he still feels that way as a grown man and a cop, but he can't help himself, because even as an adult, Ray is considered the favorite of the family. Ray has the successful marriage. Ray has kids. Robert has none of that. He's a guy having to live what he considers to be a failure as a life, dealing with his mom and dad all the time, and living across the street from his brother's perfect life. And the thing is, the show's concept usually, it's a sitcom set mostly at Ray's house, And everyone keeps coming in all the time without even asking or calling if they can come over, especially his mom, Marie, who insults Deborah, the wife, all of the time, bro. All of the time. Her cleaning, her housekeeping, her cooking. The show annoys me in the sense of how Ray continuously goes behind Deborah's back and agrees with like his mom or his family or whatever. Dude, there's no way this marriage would work in real life. There's no way this would work in real life whatsoever. It is a TV show, I can let it go. But folks out there, if you're the kind of person who take your habits of living and your marriage advice and tips from the internet or from TV, you shouldn't pay attention to this show. Because you're going to get a bad idea of a lot of things. And, my wife and I had like this running gag watching this show about how insane Ray is to go with Marie the majority of the time. Because Marie and the wife, Deborah, they have so many fights in the show. It gets to the point where there's episodes and seasons dedicated to them fighting or having a silent treatment. The show was on for like 9 seasons, dude. I think it started in like 96 and ran to 2005. I gotta tell you, man, it's if you watch it straight through, if you binge watch this show, it's very repetitive. Because they'll have these big fights between the mom and the wife, and then they stop, they make up, they seem to be on the same page, we seem to get some character progress, and I'm going to tell you right now, even if you love the show, even if you're still watching the show, this is not a spoiler, even by the end of the series, you get no progression from mom and wife are fighting all the time because they differ on how Ray should do things or whose side he takes. And also, Ray keeps picking his family over his wife. And when I say family, I mean like his family before marriage. That's obnoxious. It irks me. It irritates me. When I see men do this in real life, or women too, when I see other folks do this, I keep my head out of it in real life, but I see this all the time. And it bothers me a lot. I'm so thankful I don't have a wife like this. And obviously we both love our families, and we consider ourselves one family after marriage. But dude, you can't live with someone that does that kind of thing. And the show is not realistic in that fashion or form, but it is a sitcom. It also shows me too, with this show, and then where I just finished up How I Met Your Mother after watching all of Everybody Loves Raymond pretty much all the way through, it shows how far sitcoms had fallen by the time that, again, How I Met Your Mother started, I think, in 2005, like right after this was ending, or right when it was ending, somewhere in there. I could be wrong about that. It might have been a year's difference or so. Either crossover or distance, I don't know. But it shows the massive downfall. Even by the end of this show, you're still laughing and having a good time, enjoying the characters, having some great standout episodes with people like Deborah, the wife, or like Robert, the brother, and Ray's hijinks that he gets stuck into. But it gets kind of repetitive and kind of annoying, but you don't have bad seasons like you do a lot of sitcoms. A lot of sitcoms nowadays, they're worse than in the 80s where you would have a bad first season. A lot of sitcoms now can start off strong for like one season. They don't have a plan. Season 2 and onward can be a mess. You don't even bother with it. And it's not just like a PC culture type of thing. It's not just that. It's sitcoms and comedy in general have fallen so far, you can't make a show like this anymore. You can't have characters say and joke about the things that they do on Everybody Loves Raymond. Characters like, for example, the dad, Frank Boyle's character, or Peter Boyle's character, Frank. That character, the things he says here, the offensive things he says, that kind of person would do that in real life. You couldn't write that kind of character now without making them into a bad guy. This show understands that humans are humans, sinners are sinners, and it knows what to do with that. It can have characters have conversations and maintain being funny, maintain those characters to be the types of people they would be in real life. I love that about it, despite the show not being realistic a lot of the time, and would end in divorce like 20 times, between Ray and Deborah. But I guess I'll talk about some other stuff real quick. There is a on-again, off-again girlfriend that my wife seemed to remember being in the show a lot more than she is, named Amy, and she dates Robert, the brother. It's nothing against the actress. It's nothing against the actress. I can't stand Amy. I just can't. You know? I don't like the Big Bang Theory TV show. I used to like it when it first came out, the first couple of years. But it quickly annoyed me the older I got, very quickly. Just like 2.5 Men. I was never a big 2.5 Men guy. But anyway, Big Bang Theory had a character named Amy on there. And every time I watch that show, I cannot not cringe. Every time I watch that chick show up on that show. She's not funny. She's not interesting. She's not beautiful like Bernadette is. I can't stand it. I can't stand her. This is the Amy of this show, even though they're both named Amy. That's my point. This Amy from this show gets on my nerves, and the stuff they do with her and her parents later on in the show, and their butting heads with Frank and Marie, that can be funny. It gets old so quick. So quick, dude. But I do love Amy's mom. I think Amy's mom is absolutely hilarious. There's an episode about cigarette smoking that is so good. If you haven't seen it, you're absolutely missing it. Another thing I want to talk about is the physical media releases of Everybody Loves Raymond. For some reason, and I thought at first, because this is apparently put out by HBO as a physical media release, I didn't know that until some of the later seasons. I think season 4 and 5 onward is when you would see that logo show up on the screen. I had some massive issues with season 7 and 9. Now, technically, I have not seen the whole show all the way. There's a big 2-parter or 3-parter wedding that my wife and I missed right now, because season 7 and 9 had issues where, the first 2 discs of pretty much every disc on those 2 seasons would play, and then the rest of the disc just wouldn't. There's no scratches, there's no disc rot as far as I can physically tell. My Southern came out. There's no issue like that. And yet, I think it's an issue with my I had a DVD of Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, the Sam Raimi film, from back when I first got a DVD player in 2003 or 4, somewhere in there. I think it was 2003. I had that same Spider-Man DVD all of these years, and 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it just stopped working. There's not really any scratches on it. There's very faint lines here and there from usage over the years, and DVD players being shitty sometimes and being good other times. It's not beat up. It's not as rugged as you would think it is. I take care of my stuff. That DVD just doesn't work anymore. It won't load a menu. Everything I put it on, I've tried every PlayStation in my house over the years, every Blu-ray player, DVD player, Xbox. I've tried all of them to play this damn movie. It doesn't work anymore. That's the same issue I have here with season 7 and 9. And I'm afraid to rebuy those seasons because it seems like, from what I can tell on some of the reviews online, people had the same exact issue. It's not as common as a write-up, but the fact that I'm seeing a couple of other reviews tells me this must have been an issue with DVD production, and over time, it not working anymore. So I'm going to try to rebuy because usually Everybody Loves Raymond comes in these big old cases that are the size of a novel, dude. I'm going to try to buy the slimmer copies over time. I'm not going to rush to it right now, but there are episodes like that wedding I mentioned I want to see because it's about a character I adore and I want to know, you know? So I have to do that at some point. But now I have another complaint. This is so ridiculously dumb, and I used to see this at the stores when the show ended. I used to see this online when I started thinking about buying Everybody Loves Raymond, because I'm pretty much done, for the most part, buying physical media. I don't really have anything else I want to get except for some shows that'll probably never get a release. For some reason, and I thought there was a reason for it that made sense, but it's not. For some reason, the actual series finale is put out on a DVD back when the show ended in 2006, or 5. They put the series finale on a final disc that I think they charged $15 for back then. Now, I assumed it was an hour and a half long, or at least an hour, right? Maybe a lot of bonus features and behind-the-scenes stuff. Let me tell you about that. I bought that series finale a long time ago. When we finished the show, I watched it, not going to spoil anything. There is a 25-minute episode finale. A 25-minute episode long finale that feels like a regular old episode and has a nice kind of outro at the end of it. But not as heart-melting or heartwarming as you would think it would be. And it's not an hour long. It's not an hour and a half. It is a 25-minute episode, basically, on a separate disc that you had to pay like $10 or $15 or $20 for back in the day. The only other thing on that disc, I think there was a little bit of bonus stuff, but we're not talking like a documentary. We're not talking about much at all. But there was a original pilot posted on this series finale disc. Now, I don't know if that was available on the season 1 box set too from back in the day. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think I even tried to look into it. But that is such horseshit that you have like less than an hour's entertainment and you put the series finale of this show and what basically would be a bonus feature of a original pilot version on a separate DVD to get more money out of people. That is so fucking wrong, dude. We need to shame shows for doing that ever again. And it probably won't happen ever again because of what we see nowadays. Physical media is dying. But it's very prevalent in gaming to do that. It has been for a while, like with DLC, and it's in the game, but they lock it out. You have to pay for it online with Wi-Fi and shit to be able to use those things that are on a disc. And that was all the way back to the 360 days, for that matter. That's not good. That's not good. That is shameful, and I think it's disgusting and wrong to do your customers that way. There is no reason that last episode and maybe the original pilot, there's no reason those shouldn't have been on that final Season 9 box set. But even if it had been, I wouldn't have been able to watch it because Season 7 and 9 were so faulty for me. From what I saw online, those were the only 2 seasons, by the way, that had those issues, so I don't know if anybody else had that problem or not. But just be warned in case you decide to buy the series. Try to stick to those big complete series box sets if you can. My wife and I kind of debated too, if that goes on sale somewhere, probably Walmart or Best Buy or somewhere if they have it, or Target or whatever, if we ever see it out again, we will probably just dump the money into getting it and get rid of these DVD complete series sets because, dude, this is ridiculous. There is no excuse for this bullshit, you know? From some of the sales we saw, it would cost, when a big sale was going on for Everybody Loves Raymond from Amazon, which you had to be careful with because of bootlegs, and Amazon doesn't check anything anymore. If we see a real new set at like Walmart someday, hopefully, we're probably going to buy that and just dump our complete series sets because these things are so thick with the casing and protection on them that, and I like that they're so protective for the discs and stuff, but it didn't help when the discs are rotting and we're not getting replacements and stuff really very often. So I'm sad about that, but, you know, it's something to look out for. I thought it was worth mentioning for this show. By the way, my pastor told me about this. I didn't realize this, but last night it's absolutely confirmed. I started watching King of Queens. I love King of Queens. I've never seen it all the way through. I've seen 1 million episodes of it, though. I started watching it. My pastor had mentioned a while back, because he's a big TV movie guy, that King of Queens is sort of like tied into Everybody Loves Raymond. And I think another show he mentioned too. I can't remember what it was. You'd probably know what it is if it's true. Last night I watched an episode of King of Queens in season 1 where Ray Romano's character here, has like a situation at a DMV with Doug and causes him to lose his license. And I thought that was so funny, dude. It was such a good episode. Robert's in it. Frank is in it. If you haven't seen that episode, go out of your way and go watch that. I think you'll really enjoy it. King of Queens is better than this show to me. Not that I've seen the whole show all the way through, but I've seen enough where I would say that I love that show way more than I love Everybody Loves Raymond. But this is a great show. It's really fun despite the repetitiveness of it. It's the kind of show my wife and I could go to church on a Sunday, come home, and literally watch this show nonstop all day and not get tired of it. And I would take breaks in here for Miami Vice and like How I Met Your Mother and different shows I was watching. But this is something we almost went through like a season and a half every single weekend. And I know that sounds like a lot, but it's really not when they're like 21-minute episodes. I really enjoyed this. I think it's way better than shit like Seinfeld, which I watched like the first 2 seasons of Seinfeld. I don't get the love for it. It's okay. I don't hate it. But this is better. King of Queens is better than this. So both of those top Seinfeld for me. Anyway, what do you think about Everybody Loves Raymond? If you're a fan of it, or if you're a fan of Ray Romano, did you watch the revival thing that they did recently? I didn't, but I kind of want to. I probably won't make a video about it, but I would kind of like to see everybody back. It's not everybody. A lot of these guys are dead, which is really sad. But what do you think about the show? What do you love about it? What are your favorite episodes, your favorite characters? Do you hate Marie? I think we're all on the same plane about hating her deeply. Let me know everything you think about the show down below. And thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.